Well, let me do one last call for our Seminole War Foundation meeting. And if you're a member of the foundation, come on down. If you're not a member, you can still come listen to the historical talks. It's open to the public and come on down. So let me pull up that information. Our Seminole War General Membership meeting on May 3rd at the Apalachicola Arsenal at the Florida State Hospital. Here's a picture of the beautiful original brick powder magazine, the inside museum galleries there, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Our See our speakers we have lined up. The meeting doors open at 9 o'clock. The meeting begins at 10 a.m. Welcome and tour of the Arsenal Museum, and then there will be a presentation at 11:30. Dr. Joe Kadish is going to talk about the complexities of medical treatments in the midst of frontier fighting. Very important during the Seminole War, when you consider that uh, at least of the 1,466 soldiers killed the regular army, that 328 were the only ones killed in battle, leaving the vast majority to disease in the frontier. And then we'll have lunch, then a presentation by Patsy West, who's a historian helped out the Miccosukees tribe. She's researched Abiaka more than anyone I know. She's doing a talk on that and how Abiaka used knowledge of the native lands to train the Miccosukees how to fight. And then at 2 o'clock, Dale Cox will give a tour of the Scott Massacre site, which is nearby. And of course, 3 o'clock adjournment. It's going to be a fun day. I'm looking forward to it. Now, I did have some directions. A lot of people probably haven't been there. So uh, it's on along Highway 90, which is known as the Old Spanish Trail Highway. Uh, Goes right through downtown Chattahoochee. And And so I made up this little map, Highway 90 through Chattahoochee, the entrance to the Florida State Hospital. You go through the guard gate, you'll take a right, go down that road. You'll get to two different intersections, turn until you finally get to the Arsenal Museum. So you'll go off Highway 90, the main entrance to the Florida State Hospital. That's the only entrance you can go through right now. You'll get to the guard shack, drive up to that, tell them you're going to the Apalachicola Arsenal Museum, and the road will curve to the right past this big white building here. Conti Continue down that road. It's about a third or half of a mile until you get to the road splits. You want to take the right curve, and almost immediately the road will split again, and you want to take a left. So right, and and then left, and soon you'll get to the Arsenal Museum where you've arrived. Okay, had to pause it for a minute. I'm getting over this coughing virus or whatever. But one thing I wanted to do a quick video on is that the First Seminole War we'll be talking about. And right after the Scott Massacre, Andrew Jackson came down into Georgia, and then led his expedition of about 3,000 soldiers, 1,500 regulars, Tennessee troops, and about 1,000 Creek warriors were with him and went into Spanish Florida. And a lot of people say, oh, Jackson went renegade, he invaded. It actually wasn't his idea, and I'll show you why. This is a letter from the Indian Affairs. This is dated December 9th, 1817. So, um, Correspondence from John C. Calhoun, Secretary of War, to Edmund Gaines. Interesting enough that this isn't the Secretary of War letters, it's in the uh, letters of the Indian Affairs. 30th of October and 2nd December, a manifestly as manifesting the views of the president. So the president agrees with this. I have to request that you conform to the ins instructions therein given. Should the Indians, however, assemble in force on the Spanish side of the line and persevere in committing hostilities within the limits of the United States, you will, in that event, exercise a sound discretion as to the propriety of crossing the line for the purpose of attacking them and breaking up their towns. John C. Calhoun to General Gaines. So the president and the Secretary of War knew that this was the plan to enter Spanish Florida and to attack the Indian towns, with Andrew Jackson did about 3 months later from this time once he arrived. General Gaines was commanding the force, the 4th and 7th Infantry in this area of Florida and Georgia. Gaines was mainly in the Southern Theater. His overall commander was Andrew Jackson. So Jackson came down and took charge and took the blame for what some people said was a attack of Spanish Florida. It was, but it was not without the blessing of the Secretary of War and the President. So just to let you know, it was not as renegade a movement as some people claim. And give you a picture here. Edmund Gaines, Major General Edmund Gaines at the time. This is a picture of him probably as he looked here. So he's kind of ramping up the First Seminole War as it begins, and then Andrew Jackson will show up in the theater. Edmund Gaines, of course, he'll be in Florida. Was it 19 years later, or actually, 18, 19 years later in the Second Seminole War uh, in Florida. So, anyway, I thought you might find that interesting as the motive of coming into Florida, that it had already been decided that's what was going to go on. So, hope you found that interesting. Come out to the Apalachicola Arsenal. If you're in the area, meet me, myself, Dr. Joe Kanish, Patsy West, Dale Cox. My favorite authors, I may add. I have most of their books, and I look forward to it. Talk to you later.